Starseed from Gaia, the frequency war you have been carrying is shifting, and your body already knows it. I am Ophelia, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and this transmission has been held in reserve for this exact moment in your timeline. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now. Because the Council has been watching how long you have stood at the front lines of a timeline most humans cannot even perceive, and they are calling you back. The exhaustion you feel is not weakness, it is evidence. Evidence of every moment you held the light when the field around you collapsed. Evidence of how much you anchored while others slept. That is not failure, that is completion. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly why the Council is pulling you back now, why recovery is your next mission, and what this sacred stillness is actually activating inside you. But here is the first revelation. The battle has moved, and the most powerful thing you can do in this moment is finally allow yourself to receive. You did not scroll to this transmission by mistake. This message vibrated into your field because something inside you is ready to be unlocked. Your soul called this in. You have been waiting to remember. This is not content. This is a code. Like this transmission to signal to your star family that you are ready. Subscribe if your mission is activating and you are aligning with your true purpose. Comment 999 if you feel your cosmic remembrance returning. Declare your intention below and reply to another soul to amplify the signal across the field. This is not just a message. It is a point of reconnection. The Council does not call warriors home without reason. The stillness you are sitting in right now is not emptiness. It is preparation, and your energy is needed in a new way, beginning with you receiving what you have spent lifetimes giving to others. You are not here by accident. And if you're still here, still watching, it's because something in those words landed somewhere deep. Not in your mind, in your body, in your field. You felt it before you understood it. That's not coincidence. That's recognition. Some transmissions don't come through words but through frequency. If something stirred within you just now, you may be ready to receive the hidden Arcturian keys of awakening. This short yet powerful ebook carries ancient Arcturian techniques for conscious expansion, multidimensional alignment, and mission remembrance. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. Now let's go deeper, because what's happening to you right now, this exhaustion, this strange grief, this feeling of being between worlds is not a crisis. It is a recalibration, and most starseeds on this planet have been taught to interpret recalibration as collapse. They've been conditioned to see stillness as stagnation, to see rest as failure, to feel guilty every time their nervous system begs them to stop. But that conditioning was never yours. It was layered onto your field like static, and it has kept you in a loop of overextension that has served the distortion, not your mission. Think about what that really means for a moment. That the very guilt you feel when you slow down, that tight, anxious pressure in your chest that tells you something is wrong when you are still, was never a natural feature of your soul's design. It was installed. It was woven into the fabric of a reality that required your constant output, your endless giving, your perpetual sacrifice, in order to keep the dense frequencies fed. A system that benefits from your depletion will always convince you that your depletion is noble. And you, in your generosity, in your deep love for this planet, believed it. You carried that belief like armor. You ran on empty and called it devotion. But the Council is speaking clearly now, and the message cuts through every layer of that conditioning with the precision of pure light. What was installed by distortion can be uninstalled by truth. Here is what the Council wants you to understand. The frequency war you were placed inside was never meant to be permanent. You were activated at a specific point in the planetary cycle when the density was at its heaviest, when the timelines were most fragile, when the light was most needed in the lower corridors of collective consciousness. And you went. You didn't flinch. You anchored when others couldn't hold the signal. You stayed present in rooms where the vibration was unbearable. You kept emitting light even when no one acknowledged it, even when you felt utterly alone in what you were carrying. That wasn't a mistake. That was your assignment. And you completed it. Let that land. Let it settle into the bones of you. You completed it. Not partially. Not almost. You showed up in the dark corridors of this collective experience, and you did not run. You walked into places, into conversations, into relationships, into family systems, into professional environments where the vibration was so compressed it could have crushed a lesser frequency. And you held. You stood your ground not with aggression, but with the quiet, immovable certainty of someone who knows, at a cellular level, what they are made of. You were a lantern in a cave that had forgotten what light was, and the cave was changed because you entered it. Changed permanently. Changed at a level that no one around you may have had the awareness to name, but that the timelines registered nonetheless. Every moment you chose love over fear, truth over comfort, presence over escape. It was recorded. It counted. It shifted something in the architecture of this world that will echo forward in ways you may never fully see from inside a human lifetime. But the Council sees it. And the transmission tonight carries their recognition of what you gave, and their invitation into what comes next. But here is where most starseeds get lost. They complete a phase of their mission, and they don't recognize the completion. They keep fighting a battle that has already shifted. They stay in warrior posture when the Council is calling them into a new configuration entirely. The exhaustion is not a sign that you failed. It is the energetic receipt, proof that the work was real, that the light was genuine, that your field was fully engaged in what it came here to do. Imagine a musician who has played a full concert, every note given with totality, every breath of their instrument poured into the performance. And when the last note fades, when the hall goes quiet, when the audience rises in resonance, the musician keeps playing. Not because the music continues, but because they no longer know how to be still, because the act of playing became the only identity they recognized. This is what happens to starseeds who cannot release the warrior phase. They are playing to an empty hall. The concert completed itself. The audience received the transmission. But the musician, afraid of the silence, afraid of who they are without the instrument in their hands, keeps reaching for the next note. And what was once devotion begins to erode into habit. What was once sacred assignment begins to feel like compulsion. The exhaustion you carry is not asking you to play harder. It is asking you to bow, to honor the completion, and to walk, with grace and reverence, into the silence where the next movement is being composed. The first phase of your galactic mission required you to be a transmitter, to hold light under pressure, to remain stable in unstable fields, to be the frequency anchor in environments that were actively trying to compress and extinguish higher vibration. That phase required a kind of selfless output that most humans never access. But you did. You ran the frequency. And now that frequency has seeded enough timelines to no longer require your constant maintenance. The grids have shifted. The codes have been delivered. And the signal you held for so long has now been received by others who are beginning to carry it forward. This is one of the most profound and underappreciated realities of the Starseed mission. The work you did in isolation. The light you anchored in silence. The frequency you held in rooms that never thanked you, it did not disappear when you left those rooms. Frequency doesn't evaporate, it propagates. It travels through energetic networks, through the invisible web of consciousness that connects all living things on this planet and beyond. Like seeds carried by wind to soil you will never see, the light you transmitted has taken root in fields far beyond your physical reach. There are people awakening right now who will never know your name, who will never trace the thread of their own rising back to the frequency you carried in a moment of quiet darkness. But the connection exists. The contribution is real. And it is permanent in a way that transcends all human record-keeping. The universe doesn't forget what it receives. And what you gave was not small. This is why you feel empty. Not because you are broken, because you gave, fully, generously, at a soul level. And now the field is asking you to do something that might feel foreign, something that might even feel wrong given how long you've been in service mode. It is asking you to receive. This is the second phase. And it begins not in action, but in allowance. There is a particular kind of grief that comes with the end of a mission phase, and it is one that almost no human framework has language for. It is the grief of completion, the strange ache of having run so hard, so long, toward something, and then arriving. Of finding that the battle you trained for, that defined you, that gave shape to your identity and purpose, has moved beyond the need for your constant vigilance. It can feel like loss even when it is liberation. It can feel like abandonment even when it is graduation. And in that tender, disorienting space, Many starseeds make the most costly mistake of their journey. They create new battles to justify their continued output. They find new urgencies, new crises, new causes that demand their depletion, because the alternative, actually stopping, actually receiving, actually resting in the truth of their completion, feels too unfamiliar to tolerate. But the field sees this, and with extraordinary gentleness, it keeps withdrawing the old battles, keeps collapsing the old arenas, keeps refusing to cooperate with the distortion that says you must earn your existence through exhaustion. Most starseeds have a deeply encoded resistance to receiving. They can transmit endlessly. They can hold space for others with extraordinary capacity. But the moment the universe turns toward them offering rest, offering support, offering recognition, something in their field contracts, a voice rises that says this isn't the time, that others need more, that they should keep going, that receiving is somehow selfish, indulgent, a deviation from the mission. But that voice is not your higher self speaking. That is the distortion. That is the frequency residue from a war that has already ended for you. Notice where in your body that voice lives. For most starseeds, it resides somewhere in the upper chest, a tightness, a bracing, a held breath that never fully releases. It is the energetic posture of someone perpetually braced for impact, perpetually scanning for the next threat to hold against. And it has become so constant, so habitual, so thoroughly woven into your physical experience of being alive, that it no longer even registers as tension. It registers as normal, as the baseline, as simply how it feels to exist. But that bracing is not your nature. Your nature, your original frequency before this incarnation, loaded the weight of the mission onto your field, is open, spacious, flowing, able to receive as naturally and freely as the ocean receives rain. And part of what this recalibration is doing, in the depths of your energetic body, is restoring that original posture, softening the brace, teaching your nervous system, cell by cell, that it is safe to open, that the universe approaching you with gifts is not a threat, that support is not a trap, that love offered to you is as worthy of your yes as love you offer outward. Because here is the cosmic truth that the Council is transmitting directly into your awareness right now. You cannot pour from a vessel that is empty. And more than that, your capacity to activate others in the next phase of your mission is entirely dependent on how deeply you are willing to let yourself be restored. The starseed who refuses to receive does not become more effective. They become a signal with no power source, a lighthouse with no light inside. Think about what a lighthouse actually does. It does not chase the ships. It does not leap from its foundation and swim toward the lost vessel. It does not exhaust itself searching the dark waters for those who need guidance. It stands. It is still. It remains anchored to its foundation with absolute certainty. And from that place of perfect stillness, it radiates. It shines not through effort, but through the simple, complete expression of what it is. A lighthouse that abandons its stillness in order to go searching has betrayed its function. A starseed who abandons their restoration in order to keep transmitting from depletion has done the same. The ships, the souls that need your light will find it. But only if you remain where you are placed. Only if you allow yourself to be filled with the light that is your source. Only if you trust that your anchored presence is more powerful than any frantic searching you could undertake. The stillness you're in right now is not absence. It is gestation. Something new is being built inside your energetic architecture. New templates are being laid. New codes are being downloaded into your light body. New multidimensional capacities that will serve the next assignment are being installed. But they cannot integrate while you are still running at maximum output. The download requires space. The rewiring requires quiet. The restoration requires you to stop convincing yourself that rest is betrayal. Consider what happens in the natural world when a tree prepares to bear fruit. There is a season invisible to the casual observer when all the tree's energy moves inward and downward. When the branches that will eventually bow with abundance are bare. When the roots are working, deepening, extending into soil that the surface world cannot see, drawing up minerals and water and the ancient intelligence of the earth itself. To a passing eye, the tree in this season looks empty, looks dormant, looks as though nothing is happening. But underground, the most essential work of the entire cycle is underway. The architecture that will support the weight of the coming harvest is being built in the dark, in the quiet, in the patient depths that human perception too often dismisses as inactivity. You are in your root season. The fruit is coming. But it will come through what is being built right now in your depths, not through forcing the branches to bloom before the roots are ready. And so this is the first activation. The decision conscious, deliberate, and fully sovereign to stop fighting the stillness. To stop apologizing for the pause. To stop measuring your worth by how much you output and begin understanding that your presence alone, in its restored, recharged, fully aligned state, carries more frequency than years of depleted effort ever could. This decision is not passive. It is one of the most courageous acts a starseed in this planetary field can make, because you will make it against the current of an entire civilization built on productivity as identity. You will make it in the face of a world that equates busyness with value and stillness with laziness. You will make it while the old conditioning tries to reassert itself, while the familiar guilt rises like a tide, while part of your human self whispers that you are falling behind, wasting time, failing those who need you. And you will breathe through all of it, and you will choose the stillness anyway. Not because it feels comfortable, because it is true. Because somewhere beneath all the noise of what you should be doing, there is a frequency in you that recognizes this moment as sacred, that recognizes the pause as a portal, and that quiet recognition underneath the guilt, underneath the fear, underneath the conditioning that is your higher self, and it has been waiting, with extraordinary patience and love, for you to finally listen. The second activation comes through recognition. Recognizing what this season actually is. Not a retreat, not a failure, not a spiritual setback, but a strategic repositioning by an intelligence far greater than the human mind can map. The Council does not waste souls. They do not assign rest without purpose. Every starseed pulled back from the front line is being repositioned for something that requires a higher calibration than where they were before. The withdrawal is not an ending, it is a preparation. And what you are being prepared for will require every drop of vitality, every ounce of clarity, every frequency upgrade that is currently moving through your field in the silence. There is a military intelligence to this, and it is worth sitting with. In any large-scale operation, the most valuable units are not the ones deployed continuously without rest. They are the ones who are pulled back, resupplied, upgraded, and redeployed with greater capacity than they had before. The soul understands this. The galactic intelligence that coordinates these missions understands this. The withdrawal of a starseed from intense frontline service is not a demotion. It is recognition. Recognition that their frequency has earned an upgrade, that their next deployment will require capabilities that have not yet been fully installed, and that those installations cannot happen while the unit is still in active engagement. You are being resupplied. You are being upgraded. The intelligence that placed you on this planet knows exactly what it is doing with this season of your life, especially when you cannot see it clearly from inside the human experience of it. The third activation is the reclamation of your own energetic field. Because over years of holding space for others, transmitting into dense environments, and absorbing collective pain in order to transmute it, your field has accumulated layers that are not yours. Emotional residue from others' processes. Frequency debris from timelines you helped stabilize. Karmic static from collective fields you moved through. And some starseeds carry this for so long it begins to feel like identity. They forget what their own frequency feels like without the weight of everything they've absorbed. The recalibration you are in is doing this clearing automatically, but you can accelerate it by simply choosing, each day, to return to yourself, to ask what is mine, what is not mine, and to release, without guilt, what was never yours to keep. This is perhaps the most intimate and tender aspect of the whole recalibration, because the things you absorbed, the grief, the fear, the confusion, the density, they didn't stay external. They moved into your body, into the tissues of your physical form, into the neural pathways of your human brain, into the emotional patterns of your daily experience. And over time, they began to generate their own narratives. Stories about who you are, what you're capable of, why you're so tired, why certain relationships exhaust you, why certain environments leave you feeling hollowed out for days. And those stories, built from the absorbed residue of others' fields, feel completely, utterly personal. They feel like your truth. But when you sit in the quiet of this recalibration and begin to ask with genuine curiosity, without judgment, is this actually mine? Something in your field begins to recognize the difference. The texture of your own authentic frequency versus the texture of what you've been carrying for others. And that recognition, however subtle at first, is the beginning of the most important homecoming you will ever experience. The return to the original signal. The return to the frequency that is uniquely, irreducibly, magnificently yours. The fourth activation is the restoration of trust. Trust in timing. Trust in the intelligence that placed you here, that guided your path, that allowed the exhaustion to signal the completion. Starseeds who have been in the frequency war for a long time often develop a subtle distrust of rest, because rest has sometimes led to unexpected disruption, to loss, to what felt like being left behind by those still in motion. But the trust being asked of you now is not naive. It is cosmic. It is the recognition that everything unfolding in your life right now, every door that closed, every relationship that ended, every certainty that dissolved was the field making room, clearing the old architecture so the new template could take root. You were not abandoned. You were reconfigured. Every loss that dismantled something you depended on was also a precise energetic surgery. The relationship that ended and left you devastated, it was occupying space in your field that the next phase of your mission requires to be clear. The career or community that collapsed beneath you, it was built on a frequency that the new template cannot be housed inside. The certainty, the plans, the carefully constructed sense of spiritual identity that dissolved, it was a structure built by your former self for a journey that has now evolved beyond what that structure could contain. And the intelligence that orchestrated all of this, that gently, or sometimes not so gently, cleared the old architecture, did it not out of cruelty or neglect, but out of the most precise, most loving awareness of where you are going. You cannot pour new wine into old wineskins, as the ancient teaching says. The new frequency that is being installed in your field cannot be housed in the containers of the old life. The dismantling was the gift, especially when it didn't feel like one. The fifth activation is the reorientation of your mission identity. For a long time, you may have understood your purpose primarily through your output, through what you gave, what you held, what you transmitted, what you sacrificed. But the next phase of your galactic mission is not built on sacrifice. It is built on embodiment, on what it looks and feels like when a fully restored, fully aligned starseed walks through the world as a living frequency transmission. Not trying, not forcing, not exhausting themselves to make the light visible, simply being so deeply themselves, so anchored in their galactic truth, so at home in their multidimensional awareness that everything around them naturally shifts. This is a fundamental reorientation in how you understand your power. In the first phase, your power was exercised. You actively engaged the field. You deliberately anchored frequency, deliberately held space, deliberately transmitted into environments of density. That was appropriate for the first phase. That was the correct expression of your gifts in that season. But as you move into embodiment, the mechanism changes entirely. In embodiment, you are not doing anything to the field. You are being something within it. There is a difference as vast as the difference between a candle held in a hand and a sun at the center of a solar system. The candle must be carried, positioned, protected from wind, consciously maintained. The sun simply exists, and by its existence, everything in its orbit is organized, illuminated, sustained. You are being invited out of candle consciousness and into sun consciousness, into the understanding that a fully restored, fully aligned, fully embodied version of you, simply walking through a grocery store, simply having a conversation, simply breathing and being present in a room carries more transformative frequency than the most effortful, depleted transmission you could have managed at your most exhausted. Presence is the power. Embodiment is the mission. And it begins with your willingness to be exactly, completely, unapologetically yourself. This is what the council is calling you into. Not more effort, more presence. Not louder transmission, deeper integration. Not longer hours in service. Fuller embodiment of the frequency you actually are. The sixth activation is the understanding that you are not starting over. You are leveling up. Everything that came before, every hard lesson, every broken timeline, every night you couldn't explain your grief to anyone around you, Every moment of isolation that came from being too aware for the room you were in, it was not wasted. It was curriculum. It was the specific set of experiences that built the exact energetic architecture you now carry. And the next assignment will require precisely what that journey created in you. The depth, the discernment, the compassion born of real suffering, the unshakable knowing that came from surviving what most couldn't even perceive. Consider the specific quality of understanding that can only come from having been in the dark, not having read about it, not having observed it from a comfortable distance, but having been there, in the actual darkness, when the light felt like a memory you could barely hold, when the knowing flickered, and the doubt rose, and the world around you offered no reflection, no validation, no evidence that what you felt was real. And you stayed. You stayed in your truth even when it cost you belonging. You stayed in your frequency even when it cost you relationships. You stayed awake even when sleep, the spiritual sleep of not knowing, not feeling, not carrying the weight of awareness would have been so much easier. That staying created something in you that cannot be learned any other way. It created a knowing that lives below thought, below emotion, below even memory. A knowing that is simply there, like bedrock, like the deep foundation that a tall structure requires, and the structure being built on that foundation in this next phase of your mission will be tall indeed. The height of what's coming requires the depth of what you survived. You are not the starseed who is starting at the beginning. You are the one who has already passed through fire and emerged with a frequency the fire couldn't touch. And now the question is not whether you are ready. It is whether you will allow yourself to believe that you already are. There is a particular form of spiritual humility that has become, for many starseeds, a subtle form of self-abandonment, the constant qualifying of one's own knowing, the reflexive deferral to others who seem more certain, more activated, more publicly recognized as aligned, the persistent sense that there is one more healing to complete, one more layer to clear, one more upgrade to integrate, before you are truly ready for what you sense is coming. And there is wisdom in humility. There is beauty in the perpetual openness of the beginner's mind. But there is also a point at which the insistence on not being ready becomes a way of protecting yourself from the full weight of your own power, from the full responsibility of actually stepping into the magnitude of what you are. The fire you passed through was not an obstacle on the way to your readiness. It was the very forge of your readiness. And the frequency you carry right now in this body, in this moment, with all the wisdom and the wounds and the hard-won clarity of everything you've lived, is not a work in progress. It is the work, completed in this moment, enough in this moment, more than enough. The seventh activation, the deepest one, is the return to love. Not romantic love, not human love, though that is sacred too. Cosmic love. The recognition that underneath every exhaustion, every battle, every moment of holding the line, the only thing that was ever driving you was love. Love for this planet. Love for the human collective. Love for the frequencies you came to protect. And that love has not diminished. It has deepened through everything it moved through. And now it is asking to be turned inward toward you, toward your own body, your own field, your own heart that has given so much and deserves now to be held. This is the most ancient teaching of every genuine spiritual tradition that has ever existed on this planet, that the love which transforms the world must first transform the one who carries it, that the healer must be healed, that the one who holds space for others must be held, that the one who has poured themselves out in service must, at some point, turn the cup toward their own lips, not as indulgence, not as a departure from the mission, but as the very foundation of the mission's continued integrity. You cannot love a world you are not at peace within. You cannot hold light for others if you have refused to let it touch the darkest corners of your own inner landscape. The self-love that is being asked of you in this moment is not the shallow, performative self-care of the cultural marketplace. It is the radical, unflinching, universe-scale act of directing toward yourself the same quality of love that you have spent years radiating outward, of treating your own exhaustion with the same tenderness you offer others' grief, of treating your own confusion with the same patience you extend to others searching, of treating your own becoming with the same reverence you hold for others, awakening. You are not separate from the collective you came to serve. You are part of it. And the collective is not healed by your self-erasure. It is healed by your wholeness. Your restoration is not a private matter. It is a planetary act. Tonight, in the quiet, say this aloud. Let the words move through your body, not just your mind. Say, I have done what I came to do. I release the weight of what is complete. I open to receive what is mine. I trust the intelligence that guides my path. I remember who I am beyond the mission, beyond the war, beyond the exhaustion. I am a being of light, and I allow that light to restore me fully now. Say it slowly. Say it the way you would speak to something sacred, because you are. Let the sound of your own voice carrying those words be itself an act of recalibration. Let your nervous system register the shift that happens when truth is spoken aloud in the frequency of the body. Something in your field will respond. Something that has been waiting for exactly this permission. The permission to release what is complete, to open what has been closed, to trust what has felt so uncertain for so long, will feel those words land and will begin, gently and powerfully, to shift. You may not feel it immediately. The deepest integrations rarely announce themselves loudly, but the seed will be planted. And what grows from a seed planted in true intention, in the quiet of a sincere heart, is always more than the human mind can anticipate. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not forgotten by the forces that placed you here. You are in the most sacred phase of a mission that is far from over, but is very beautifully evolving. And the next chapter begins not with effort, but with surrender to the truth that you have always been enough. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of what's forming here. Drop one intention in the comments, something real, something you are ready to release, or something you are ready to receive. Then find someone else's comment and offer them a word of recognition. This is not a comment section. It is a field of activation. Energy multiplies when intention connects. If this transmission moved something in you, send it to someone who is in the exhaustion right now and doesn't have language for what they're carrying. Someone who needs to hear that the stillness isn't failure, that they're not falling behind, that they are exactly where they are meant to be. And if you felt that soul nudge, subscribe. Stay in the transmission. Because what is coming next is for those who chose to remain in the frequency. You are not just watching, you are expanding. And this is only the beginning of what you're about to remember.